Labdien! Sveicināti interneta televīzijā. Un šodien mēs turpinām ciklu, kas tiek realizēts projektā Daudzpusīgi risinājumi sabiedrības izglītošanai, integrācijai nr.10, ko organizē biedrības patvērums drošu māju. Šī projekta ietvaros mēs esam jau intervējuši un intervēsim 23 valstu piederīgos. Līdz ar to, tas, ko mēs gribam izdarīt šajā projektā, mēs gribam paskatīties uz Latviju ar citu cilvēku acīm. Kā viņi jūtās šeit, kā viņi nejūtās šeit, kādas ir problēmas, kas viņus uztrauc, kas viņus neuztrauc. Un līdz ar to tas, ko mēs esam paredzējuši šajā projektā, atrast 20 cilvēkus no 20 dažādām valstīm, kas atbilst statusam trešo valstu pilsoņu, kas dzīvo attiecīgi Latvijā. Tas, ko šajā gadījumā es gribētu aicināt jūs skatītājus, vai jūs skatāties mūs pašlaik tiešraidē, vai mūs skatīties pašlaik ierakstā, es gribētu aicināt vienkārši sūtiet, ja gadījumā jūs zināt kādu interesantu cilvēku, kurš dzīvo Latvijā, kurš nav Latvijas valsts pilsonis un kurš nav Eiropas Savienības valsts pilsonis, tad dodiet ziņu uz šajā gadījumā vai nu griežoties patvērumā drošas mājas vai Baltijas reģionālajā fondā. Un līdz ar to, saņemot šo informāciju, mēs šo cilvēku uzaicināsim uz interviju un nointervēsim. Un šodien mēs, tātad, kā es teicu, turpinām šo pārraidi, un mēs šodien sarunāsimies jau ar mūsu studijas viesi.
Hello. And I would like to speak today with one Indian representative. Yes, and maybe you introduce yourself.
Okay, so should I? Okay, so I can.
It's okay, it's no matter.
So my name is Akims.
What's your name?
Okay, my name is Akims.
Yeah, Akim.
Yeah. And here in Latvia they gave me the name Akims.
Akims.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my full name is Akim Muhammad Ismail Manad Chaju.
Oh.
It's quite big. It's like almost like a Latin name because it's like,
yes.
I mean, South American name, Latino name, like,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like really big.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much I'm from India.
Yeah.
I'm 23 years old and I come from the southern part of India, from a state called Kerala and a city called Cochin.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in Latvia here for almost 9 months now.
Yeah.
And I represent ISIC, which is a world youth organization. It's one of the world's largest youth organization. And about me, pretty much, I studied engineering.
Oh, engineering.
Yes, but I do not want to continue pursue in that field that much. But like to more work with children or like to work in a social environment. That's what I plan to do in the future. And yeah, like till last year, till 2013, I've never lived abroad.
Yeah.
And so first country I visited and like stayed was Lithuania. It was very strange for me.
Why?
Because it's very different from India. Like the most important, I mean like the biggest difference I would say is the people. Like when I landed in Lithuania, first thing I noticed was there is no people. And for me it was such a big shock because like, you know, in India, like, you know, you turn to the left, you see a million people, you turn to the right, you see a million people. And then when you come to a country,
everywhere.
Yeah, there's people everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I came and landed in Vilnius and I was like, you know, on the bus and I'm like, I asked the person, like, you know, who collected me from the airport, like, oh, where are the people? What do you mean?
Yeah.
So it is like a big confusion. It is like, you know, a lot of, you know, I don't know, I felt like, you know, super different. Maybe like, you know, tense in one way because like at that point my aim for working in ISIC Lithuania was to send students from Lithuania to abroad. Yeah. And I was like, where will I find the people to send because I can't find people. So it is so different. Then the snow, of course. Yeah. It was so strange. And it was really amazing as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. And why, let's say, and later, let's say, what's the reason why you came to Latvia? Is the same?
Okay, so on actually like exactly 1 year ago, like 1 year and 2 days ago, on March 30th, for the first time I visited Riga, and I saw the city and I was like, oh my God, like, I really love the city.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to apply for, like, presidential position in Latvia.
Yeah.
And I decided, like, that was, like, my final motivation to apply for Latvia.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it is like, I fell in love with Riga. And also, like, once I came to Latvia, I really started to like the country, like, very, very much, because people were more like me, like, because I'm like kind of like an introverted person, like.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not very typical for India.
No. I mean, yes, they're like, but usually people from the south are quite introverted compared to the people from the north in India.
Yeah.
They're very different, and we are like quite different as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Latvia was like, perfect for me compared to Lithuania, because Lithuanians are loud, like, they can speak very well, and like, they are much more expressive about everything compared to Latvians. So I felt comfortable here because, like, people actually listen before they actually speak out. And so for a normal person they might think, like, Latvians are quite cold, or like, very not very talkative. But for me, I know that, if you really take the effort of talking with them, they're really amazing people. And like, that's how, like, I seriously love Latvia. And like, I'm also thinking about, like, maybe doing my master's here. So yeah.
Oh, it's interesting. But by the way, let's say, if you, try to evaluate, which is the best, what do you like here, and what is, maybe the things which you don't like, or maybe, you feel uncomfortable, maybe.
Okay, so the best thing is, like, people listen before they talk.
Yeah.
So that's something really, really good about Latvians. Like, they actually listen to you, and then they, like, come up with, ask you questions, or like, they react to situations, or like, they say, I'm not convinced. Okay, it's not like, they'll stop you middle of the way and say, I'm not convinced, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, they listen, and then they the uncomfortable situation for me is that why Latvia is not moving forward is because, let's say, like, in my perspective, it's because there is so much of anger, so much of resentment towards, like, the Soviet era. Like, for me, I feel that's wrong, or like, it makes me uncomfortable in a way, because what you should do is, like, forget about the past. Like, past is past. You can't change the past. What you can do is, like, stop thinking about it. Like, try to move forward. Like, that's something, like, about India. Okay, India didn't go against Britain. Okay, after independence, like, we were ruled for like almost 250 years. They took everything from us, like, literally everything from us. But what did India do? India stopped and, like, decided, like, we don't want to think about the past. We got our freedom. Now let's move forward. So I think, like, that's something, like, Latvians and, like, the country should be doing to move forward. Even, like, Lithuania, they also, like, don't complain too much about the whole situation. They just, they're trying to do their own thing. Yeah. And, like, for Latvia, if they do that, they are, like, you guys are the most strategically positioned of all the Baltic states, with everything, like, you're blessed with almost everything. So, like, I believe, like, that's how, like, Latvia can really, really move forward.
Yeah. And by the way, is it easy, let's say, to survive in Latvia with English language?
Of course, like, even compared to Lithuania, Latvians are, like, speaking much more English. Yeah. Like, the best thing though is, like, okay, there's this funny situation for me in Lithuania. I had, like, so I used to go to the supermarket every day to buy some breakfast or something in the morning, and then every day the lady in the counter used to speak to me in Lithuanian, and I don't understand, and she knows I don't understand because I just smiled to her, and still they used to keep talking. Here in Latvia, the difference is that people are actually, if they don't know English, okay, they'll try to speak, okay, at least, or they'll try to bring someone who can speak in English. Yeah. So for me to survive in Latvia with English is quite okay. Like it's not so hard. Plus, I want to learn Latvian, and so if I try to speak at least few words, okay, they say that I'm taking an effort to learn, or like try to speak. They talk to me in English, so it's not like bad or something. I think like in Latvia you can survive with English.
Yes. Oh, it's very interesting. And by the way, could you imagine a situation, but somebody also from India, maybe some young guy or some girl, also would like to come to Latvia, maybe as a volunteer. What kind of advice you should give them?
Okay. One thing Latvians are not Russians. The most important thing, so don't ever say that.
Oh, yes, you should remember that.
You should always remember that. Next thing is like, Latvians are very, very proud of their language, their flag, and their dance and music. So try to take effort, like, to understand that. Try to understand, like, their culture. Then they will accept you. So yeah, like, they might be distant in the beginning, but like, you should really take the effort, like, be calm and like talk to them. They're understanding, they just don't know how to express it sometimes. So but like, if you really take the effort, it should be okay. Like, you'll really enjoy the country.
Yes, and maybe also we should speak about, let's say, bureaucratical things. So bureaucratical things, maybe also you should maybe you should tell about how you survive without bureaucracy, and what kind of suggestions also in this area you could give. Because this is also, I suppose, some specific things here.
Okay, so I hate the Latvian migration office, like, I'm sorry, but like, I really, I'm very angry at them.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll tell a few incidents that happened to me.
Yeah, okay, please, yes,
so first I came to Latvia, okay. I came, like, I was in Lithuania, I went back home for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I came back. So I had Lithuanian visa with me, okay. So I came around June 14, 15, around that time, like middle of June. And my visa for Lithuania was valid till like end of July. So what I thought, I'll come here and then I'll apply for resident permit. Like, I have like 45 days to apply for resident permit. So anyway, I come here and I went to the migration office. I took the, the code and went to them. They said, no, we won't accept your application. First time I went. Second time I went, okay, they accepted my invitation letter. And then they said, they looked at my passport. They said, we can't accept yours because you are an illegal. Like, you cannot be in Latvia because your visa is Lithuanian. I tried to explain to them, please, like, it's a Schengen visa. I can travel in any Schengen country. He's like, no. It's not possible. I said, like, when I entered, like, in a European Union, I was stamped both in Helsinki and in Denmark. He's like, yeah, that doesn't mean you can be in Latvia. So it was, like, very stupid on their side. Like, they were, like, I mean, it's the migration office as well, so you expect, like, some kind of competency from them as well. Like, and to tell a person that you're an illegal, like, imagine, like, I'm there and I'm, like, super tense that, like, I don't know if they're telling the truth or, like, if they're, like, just ignorant about the topic. So, anyway, then, like, a whole lot of mess. They said, like, okay, write a letter to the migration office head, like, asking him what documents I need to submit. And then they said, okay, we'll reply to you in 2 weeks' time. They did not reply to me in 2 weeks. They replied to me in almost like 3.5 weeks' time. By that time, my visa expired, so I had to go back. To India. Okay, and the worst part is there is no Latvian embassy in India. So because they took a lot of time, I had to go back to India. And then when I reached India, I applied for Chinese visa, which was first time when I applied, they rejected me because they couldn't understand the whole concept of, like, I had to go to China, okay, to apply for resident permit for Latvia. Then I had to explain to them big letter, like, I have to go to China because there's no Latvian embassy in India. And only, like, Latvian embassy, like, can, like, official representatives can, issue resident permit or, like, visa for resident permit. So then I went to China, okay? Like, I took all the documents there.
Oh, you had the first experience also in China.
So then I took all the documents, went to the embassy in Beijing. Okay, embassy of Latvia in Beijing. Then when I reached there, they said, yeah, all documents are okay except for one document. It's called a police clearance certificate. I'm going to put my phone inside. Okay. So it's called a police clearance certificate. So they said, okay, this document is correct, but you don't have a special stamp on it. I'm like, it is never mentioned anywhere in any of the documents. Like, this stamp needs to be there. They're like, it's not our problem. So what I did, I went to, it's like a stamp from the Ministry of External Affairs, like, separate stamp from Ministry of External Affairs. It's called an apostille. So it is not mentioned anywhere, like, that in the migration, like, the OCMA website or, like, anywhere. So, and I was like, what will I do now? Like, I'm all the way in China, like, trying to apply for a Latvian resident permit, and then they tell me, like, one of the documents is wrong. I was like very concerned. I was very scared. So what did I do? I went to the Indian embassy in China and asked them if they can issue. They said, of course, like, we can issue. So what I did, I took, like, went to the Indian embassy. They issued me the document in like 1 week time. I took the document, went to the Latvian embassy. They said they won't accept it. I went back to the Indian embassy and asked, like, why they're not accepting it. The Indian embassy actually got angry at me and told, like, they should accept it without questioning. Because embassy is an extension of external affairs.
Yes.
So they should not even question the document issued by an, So it is like a lot of bureaucracy because, it was not exactly done the way they wanted it to be done. Though there was proof that I got, like, from 3 competent agencies that, I don't have any criminal records.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. I got from police, like, from the police station that, like, near my house. I didn't have any criminal records. Second, I got it from the passport office. Like, they are the ones who issue on behalf of Ministry of External Affairs in India. And then I got from Indian Embassy. Okay, so I showed them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I told them, like, what is this? They're like, that's where bureaucracy comes in, where, like, if it's not specific, like, to what they need, or, like, if they use their brains a little bit, like, they can see that, I don't have a criminal record.
Yeah.
So it is just too much of bureaucracy, and, like, and imagine, like, again, like, I'm not even in India, I'm in China, a different country. So I sent the document to India to my friend. He got all the stamp and send it to Latvia, and so I was in China for almost 1.5 months.
Just one.
Yeah, to get Latvian resident permit. Okay.
Oh my Jesus.
And it's not like I didn't pay any amount of money. Like I had to pay like around 400 lats or something to get the resident permit. Oh yeah, there was another very funny situation.
Yeah.
So first time when I submitted the documents, I applied for the 5-day process. Okay, the resident permit will be issued within 5 days.
Yeah.
When I reached there, they tell me, oh, it won't be issued in 5 days. It will be issued only like in around 2 to 3 weeks time. Because we don't send the document when you submit it today. We'll send it like when we have time in 1 or 2 weeks. So I'm like, so I'm paying so much money and still I won't get the service like which I'm supposed to. They're like, no, we're sorry, like we don't know. So it's like there is so many inconsistencies in what is written in the website and also like what's happening in the embassy at the ground level. So there is a lot of confusion, like and they're forgetting that a person is not even from that country. Okay, so if I was a Chinese citizen, well, okay, like it's understandable. Yes. But I'm not even a Chinese citizen. And yeah, at that particular time, like India-China relations was also not so great, like because China sent its troops inside Indian border and so many mess was happening. So yeah, anyway, coming back, like the bureaucracy, it was so much of very, very little things which is very annoying, and it came up to me being out of Latvia for almost 2 months. Okay. And yeah, and for my team it took even longer time. And yeah, so it was like a lot of like I don't know how to say, like it's just kind of irritating because like they're not consistent in what they say, and that was very, very bureaucratic, I feel. Other than that, like okay, other offices, like government offices, were pretty normal. They were like actually better standard, like less bureaucratic compared to India. Though like ladies sitting in these offices are quite rude sometimes. Some are very, very nice. Some are very, very rude. So it's like
it's like some explanations, right?
Okay. So sometimes when I go to either migration office and other like for different purposes, like to submit invitation letter, the ladies sitting over there are not so nice. Or like when I want to submit like state to report to the state revenue service, they're like, we submitted via paper. They're like, why don't you do it electronically? Why don't you do it electronically? They're like, annoying us, like, why didn't you do it electronically? Okay, lady, like, we didn't do it electronically. Can we submit it? She's like, yeah, you can submit, but like, why didn't you do it electronically? So it is like very, it's like, they don't want to work so much. But there is one very, very good incident when I was in the migration office. I was submitting invitation letter to bring like trainers from abroad, like, to give training for our conference. The lady was like very nice. She was like quite young, maybe because of that. She was like very nice, very sweet. Like, she asked, like, she was very interested about what we do, like, where I'm from, so many questions. So it is very nice. But yeah, in general, like, compared to Indian government offices, yes, like this Latvia is very, very good compared to India, because
why?
because in India, without the right contacts, or without paying like some bribes here and there, you wouldn't get anything done. So
okay, in this case it's better.
Yeah.
Okay, and in this case, let's say, my understanding, let's say, is that is the following: if somebody will ask what they should do for coming to Latvia, I suppose it's very hard to give any advice, because this is
now it's okay for me, because now I know every every loophole, what we need to do, this is what we need to do. Okay, we can do this so that we can go like this, then not get into trouble, or So now I get the idea of what needs to be done. Okay, so that a person, it's easy for a person to get how do you say, for them to come to Latvia.
Yeah.
Another thing is most of the people, what they do is they just contact the lawyer, and they just find easiest way to get the resident permit. And since we're just an NGO, we don't have so much money to appoint a lawyer, or ask for help like that. So it was, for an NGO, for a youth organization, for a volunteering organization, it's very, very complex situation when you want to bring someone for longer than, let's say, 2 months or 3 months. If it's more than the tourist visa, okay, type C visa is okay. Type D visa, when it comes to work visa, it's quite hard. You really need to be having all the documents, and So what we're trying to do now is trying to talk to the migration office, but they didn't accept our application. They only take once a day, I'll say 1 day in a month. It's just open for them, for any, people to go and talk to the head of the migration office. So,
only?
Yes, 1 day in a month. It's on first Friday of a month. And then it's not you can just randomly go. You need to write an application, not an application, a letter asking this is the purpose and things like that. So we actually wrote a letter last week, and we were supposed to get a reply from them within 1 week, which we didn't get. So it's kind of strange, the migration office is they sometimes just don't respect people's time as well. Okay, you submit something and you tell, okay, we'll reply to you in 1 week. Okay, if the answer is also negative, still it's okay. Please reply to us, so that we have the right information. So yeah.
Oh, in this case, it sounds very, very complicated, all these things. Okay, and finally, maybe could you let's say tell about what you are celebrating now, let's say, in Latvia, more Latvian holidays, more Indian holidays, and also all these things.
Okay. So, okay. I don't really celebrate Indian holidays because, I don't know, for me, it was just we usually have holidays during that time, so I just go home and sleep all the time. But for Latvian holidays, I know, for Latvians, tradition is very, very important. So what I did, what me and my team did was during the Christmas time, before Christmas, actually a couple of days before Christmas, we invited all our members to come for a Christmas dinner. So I wanted to do something like that, to make them feel like home, we're not some internationals, random people trying to lead them, but more people who really want to be here and to lead them. And with regards to Easter, I was just thinking maybe we have local office meetings, not office meetings, local committee meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so to have maybe a competition, who makes the best Easter eggs or something like that. So it's also still in the process. So I want to make it fun for them. And yes, of course, I forgot. I celebrated Ligo.
Oh, Ligo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that is really amazing. That is so different. It is nice, and it is really nice. And we kind of have something like that. It's called Shivaratri, but it's for Hindus from India.
Yeah.
But it's a different concept. It's the god watches over you all throughout the year. Okay. So it's during Shivaratri, the night, the god will sleep and people will watch after the land or something like that. So it's like very different, but still, like, it's about staying awake, like, throughout the night, and, like, celebrating and things like that. So
Okay, it's very interesting. Thank you very much for coming.
No problem.
I suppose it's interesting information. Thank you. Okay.